So, today we are talking about what happens when you start to ascend and rise in consciousness, which is emotional self awareness and spiritual connection, and understanding the truth of who you are and the reality of the world around you. What happens when you start embarking on that journey? I'll tell you what happens. The matrix tries to pull you back. And I've experienced this very, very strongly in the last few years. And it can be a very dark and disheartening process because you think you are doing really, really well. And you think that all the work that you've been putting in to releasing your trauma and aligning with your soul, it just feels like it's going nowhere. And you are coming up against challenge after challenge. And the thing is, when you are about to step onto another level, and I call this like an upgrade into a new level of your being and your life, it is the final darkness that is there to try and hold you back. And as I said, it can feel very disheartening. So, this happened for me last May in 2024. I reached a point where I just thought, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I don't want to be struggling. I don't want to be time poor. I don't want to be doing this work. I was feeling so unrewarded in so many ways. And this was a really big part of my self worth journey. And things had to change financially for me. And they did. I took action and things changed. But it was such a chaotic period where I was about to step into a very, very abundant and busy time of my life that I just thought, I just don't want to do it. I just can't go there. And it was so deep and so dark, and so many big emotions were coming up. And then after this sort of, I call it the period of calamity, I came through the other side and everything started improving and everything felt easier. And the same thing happened to me very, very recently. I think it was maybe a couple of months ago. I thought, oh my God, I'm tired. I'm tired of trying. I'm tired of doing this work. Maybe I should be doing something else, which is something that everyone feels, by the way, when they're doing what they're really meant to do. It's such a challenge and it can really push you in so many different levels. But yeah, it was kind of like this, I'm not happy, there's something in my life that doesn't feel in alignment. And again, I had to take an action and change something, which I did. I had to let some work go that wasn't in alignment with me. And I've come out the other side. And during that period, just to add, there was a lot of deep emotional stuff coming through. And I thought, I've cleared some pretty big stuff already. What is this? I mean, very, very deep core wounding coming up. Of course, we're never really finished with our healing. But I just didn't expect it. And it was exhausting. And physically, I felt not great. Emotionally, not great. And that was all being reflected in my outer reality. But it was almost like I crested a hill. And maybe you feel this way in your life as well. It just feels deep and dark and difficult. But that's right before you crest that hill. And it's like that annoying phrase, the darkness before the dawn. This is the hardest part before it starts getting lighter. And I have to say, it is absolutely true. And after I overcame that period last May and I overcame this period in February, everything started getting lighter and flowing and joyful again. And the two things I had to do was stick with it, but I also had to release and let go. And that releasing process is stagnant emotions that have come up to the surface that you cannot take with you into the next level. You cannot take them on your upgrade. So you actually have to let them go. And they're coming to the surface for a reason. And if, like me, you have threes in your soul contract, you may not be conscious of what those emotions are. You just know that you feel off and you feel sad. And sometimes we have to dive really deep within ourselves, which is a process I personally have to do in order to find the answers of what stagnant energy is still lurking in my being that I cannot take with me into the next evolution and the next stage of my life and my work, my journey. So it's a huge part of it. The second part is because they go in a pair. Once you release, you have to take action because you cannot just be releasing, releasing, releasing. You have to have the activation and the action and the positive intent to move yourself forwards. So you let go of the heaviness, the shadow, the denseness that you cannot bring into this higher level. And then you take action to align yourself with that higher level. And it might be like I had to do, making a change, had to let something go, had to make that decision. And it was a very positive intent of, I want to create this for myself, therefore I cannot have this in my life. So it was, again, a realignment process. But it may be that you have to pick up the phone and make a call. You have to actively do something. And I use phoning as a really good example because it's such a positive action to like pick up the phone and call someone to make something happen. Of course, that's such a a specific example for a broad action, but the action could be saying no to something or saying yes to something and taking a step in that direction. And if you have sevens in your soul contract, fours, and maybe 11 twos, you might struggle to take that positive action because there is a big fear. With 11 twos, it's this, I can't do it on my own, dependency fear. With the sevens, it's I'm scared of being hurt, fear. And with the fours, it's I don't trust that I'll be caught if I take a step forward, kind of fear. So when you are in this process of deep stuff coming up, just remember that it is often the point of intensity right before everything expands and brightens. And my message for you in this moment is to stick with it and let go of what doesn't want to be taken to the next level through any kind of healing that you do, any kind of process that you do. But also remember, what is the action and the positive step that I am being invited to take? And it might even just be relaxing, leaning back. It might be looking after your body. It might be watering your plants. It might be visiting your family. It doesn't have to be drive, drive, drive. So hang in there. You're going to be fine. And speaking from experience, feels so good to be on the other side. But just don't forget to do those two things, release and action, and you'll come through and you'll be okay. So I share stuff like this on my channel. I love to talk about emotional healing, diving into self-awareness and the soul contracts. So if you like this kind of thing, hang around, subscribe, and until next time, I wish you a very beautiful rest